Yeah, well, you know what? Let's open with that then. I'm gonna hit the switches and we'll just go.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right. Okay, I am joined by Zach Poff, who is the football editor at MaxPreps.com. And Zach, dude, how you doing, man?
What's good, man? Loving life, dude. High school football, Texas playoffs starting up this week in 5A, 6A. So, at the end of the day, Texas always king when it comes to playoffs, man. So I'm looking forward to that.
Man, I'm just excited. Like we talked about this before going on air, like getting to watch high school football. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, like, what's it been like for you trying to cover all these kids in states that are closed down or states with tight COVID restrictions and just trying to navigate that stuff?
It's definitely been a unique year, dude. And it was crazy, man, because, back in, before the season started, we weren't sure if we were going to get any states, what states or what. Luckily, some states are able to find a way to get an opportunity for these kids to get on the field while some weren't. And, I feel for a lot of those kids, man, that didn't get the opportunity to play. But, at the end of the day, I look at it, man, they're trying to do what's best for the kids. And, you just got to tip your cap to the states that were able to figure it out.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, and touching on a couple of those states that weren't, like, Travion Henderson has not played football for, like,
that sucks,
a
man,
solid year. Yeah.
That sucks. Like, for us as fans, dude, because Travion's that dude. Like, he was what Bijan was last year, man. I mean, same thing. And, that sucks for us as fans, man, to not be able to see him ball out a senior season. But Ohio State's going to be they're going to be loving him when he gets there for sure.
Yeah, man, one of several that is set to sign at the beginning of the early signing period, December 16th. But, like, the dude at the top of the menu right now is 5-star wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. Matter of fact, when we talked, like, way early last year, like before the pandemic, you was like, so next time we talk, we need to talk about Emeka Egbuka.
Mm-hmm.
And little did I know, like, man was going to be all in my just sphere, right? Between, like, the Ohio State thing and now lately the Oklahoma bit. And, like, this is wild for me because, all right, so the man says he's not going to make a decision before he gets to Oklahoma, right? And then we have the lockdown. And the lockdown stays the lockdown. And now we have a dead period that's going to be more than a calendar year, going into April now. But he got to Oklahoma, and he got there for what is senior day at OU, 27-14 win for Baylor. But, like, what shocked me was, like, Caleb Williams might have brought this home for Oklahoma by moving to Norman, because I think that's an underrated part and an underreported part of his journey. His family has moved to Norman. Like, he lives there now. So when Emeka got into town, he picked him up, and they went to toss, and then the man put it on IG just to stunt on everybody. So, like, first, do you agree with the comp with Juju Smith-Schuster, and what do you think happens with Emeka Egbuka as far as his maturation? Not necessarily where he's going, though. Touch on that if you want.
Hey, let's be real. Like, this dude was named our junior player of the year in 2019 at Max Press for a reason. This is, I'm not huge on the player comps because, he's his own dude, but, you can name him with the dude said he wants to be better than Jerry Rice. So that just shows you how much confidence he's got in his game. And Caleb Williams, man, he said before he committed to Oklahoma, he's about to be the best recruiter in the biz. And if he gets 5-star Emeka Egbuka to Oklahoma, that's going to be special, man. And, Emeka's another guy. It sucks with, Travion Henderson. Didn't really get a chance to play his senior year. He still hasn't, made it clear if he's going to stay in Washington and play because he's close to breaking some state records. But he's special, man. He's one of the most special wide receivers I've ever covered working at Max Preps for 6+ years. He, he does it on defense too. He could probably be a 5-star corner, 5-star safety, 5-star whatever he wants at any position. But, you get him to Oklahoma with Caleb Williams, that's going to be a big-time duo for 3 to 4 years, no doubt. And, I've been saying I wouldn't be surprised, Caleb Williams, when he gets to Oklahoma, if he wins not 1 but 2 Heisman trophies. That's how much, confidence I have in his game with Lincoln Riley, and getting the guy like Emeka Egbuka would, definitely make those chances a little better.
So I was all in on Emeka going to Ohio State for a number of reasons, right? Not the least of which is, like the pedigree around. Like, I brought this fact up because I think it's important in that Ohio State hasn't had a first-round draft pick at wide receiver since 2007. And you would be right to point out Curtis Samuel is doing the most with Carolina right now, and Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I'll tell you this though, too. Garrett Wilson will be a first rounder when he gets that chance too. I'm gonna say that now.
And I don't disagree, right? Same thing with like a Chris Olave, right? But like after what I saw KJ Hill do in 2018, watching him get drafted in the 7th round in 2019 was kind of a shock to me. But I bring all that up to say, Oklahoma has been a wide receiver factory for the last 5 years because of Dennis Simmons. Like, we're talking about a dude that had a Heisman finalist as a wide receiver, in addition to Biletnikoff Award and CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood Brown, all those sorts of things. The way that Devontae Smith was lighting it up, that's what he was doing. That said, like, what Ohio State has built and the sustainability of what it has built is really ridiculously outstanding. Like, I looked at last week, the result, 52-12, right? But down 23 players and a head coach. They were still out there just rolling people up, even with a patchwork offensive line. So it'll be interesting, but like the question now is it more important to get on the field right away? Because you look at Marvin Mims at Oklahoma, and he's showing out, right? Whereas I haven't seen that much from Jackson Smith and Jigba or Julian Fleming or G. Scott in that way, right? Because Olave and Garrett are that good. We know that. But like, do you think that factors more than perhaps anything else?
Yeah, I think it definitely factors in, man. Because, these kids, man, they want to get out and ball out as true freshmen. They don't want to sit behind anybody, even though, the kids are sitting behind their 5-4 stars and guys that are putting out also, too. But, yeah, I definitely think that factors in. And I think you touched on the bigger factor is kids want to go where they can get developed. And you see all these first-round picks at the wide receiver position from Oklahoma, getting selected in the first round. That's a big deal. So, that could be kind of the tiebreaker, too, when it comes to these kids making a decision where they want to go play college football. And, with Emeka, I think wherever he goes, he's going to play as a true freshman. I do believe, though, that if he does go to Oklahoma, I think there's a quicker way to get on the field as a true freshman compared to Ohio State. Because you mentioned all those dudes, Jackson Smith and Jigba's got on the field a little bit as a true freshman, but you haven't seen much of G. Scott Jr. and those other guys like Julian Fleming, too, where those are going to be guys that are going to be playing a little bit more as they enter their second season next year, too.
So another dude that I wanted to discuss is 5-star offensive tackle Tristan Leigh, who I felt like was an LSU lean for months, right? With Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson kind of in there, but not really in there. It's become like a 2-horse race between LSU and Oklahoma here of late. And I wonder, does Oklahoma swoop in and pick this dude up basically because of how bad LSU's last 4 months have been? Like, I'm not even talking about like on the field, perhaps. I'm talking about with the reported violations and the sexual assault scandal and just what it is down there in Baton Rouge, as opposed to like Oklahoma hadn't actually been that great with an offensive line this year, but you saw a true freshman play at left tackle. You saw a true freshman play at left guard. What would anybody be getting from this dude in that way? And do you think that Oklahoma might have edged there too?
Yeah, I mean, you look at all the crystal balls and all that, Oklahoma right now has the highest percentage compared to LSU, and then you got Clemson also too in the mix. But yeah, LSU's not having that great of a year. I do believe they'll bounce back for sure. But you mentioned all the stuff coming in when it comes to violations and all of that. That's something players are going to look at for sure. And then I tell you this, man, Caleb Williams, if he's talking to you and recruiting you, he's going to charm you, man. And I feel like he's going to charm some of these guys that are kind of on edge, deciding if they want to go to Oklahoma or not. And I feel like they can just build something even more special with Caleb Williams there kind of leading the way. Especially if Emeka announces on Friday that he's going to go ball for Oklahoma, that's going to be big for other 5 and 4 stars. Like, all right, hey, Emeka's coming. Maybe we need to go to Oklahoma too. But, this is a big decision for these kids too. So obviously they're going to spend time with their families and figure it out. But you get a guy like Tristan, man. He dominates in the run game. He dominates pass blocking. This is a special talent. And, he's a top 5 rated offensive tackle, top 15 prospect overall. And you can make a strong case. He's right up there with the J.C. Lathams, the Tommy Brockermeyers, with any other offensive tackle in the class of 2021.
Man, that's saying a lot because, like, both of those dudes are amazing athletes.
They grown men, man.
Golly. Like, I look at Alabama's recruiting. Like, I did this segment, like, in April, right? Because I watched Alabama go to 55th in the rankings with, like, 1 commit. And I'm like, yo, is the pandemic actually catching up with Saban? Does he actually know how to do this in the internet? And Saban said, yo, RJ, watch this. By August, got the #1 class in all of college football.
I mean, come on, man. We know by now. Don't ever doubt Nick Saban, man. He gonna get it done no matter how late in the process it is.
Man, I did it though. Like I doubted the man, and he showed up. Like, cause they got dudes. Like I was watching tape of Anquin Barnes last night. I'm going, oh my God. Like,
yeah, we dropped our Alabama All-State team, man. You best believe he was on there.
Yeah, I mean, and now with JaQuincy McCrinsky and like these all namers that we got, man. Like I had to talk about
Ajayi Hall. That's my guy right there. He's saucy, man.
With Look, with Korey, like, and then Christian Leary, and they talk about Christian Leary playing the capstone. I'm like, it's nasty.
It's nuts, man. And they're gonna have Bryce Young slinging it to him, so.
Dude, it's stupid down there, you know. Like between him and DJ, I'm gonna have so much fun because, like,
hey, real quick, dude. How like listen, we know DJ was that dude, DJ Uiagalelei. I don't want people to say I can't say his last name, man. I've been doing it for years. But how special was that, dude? Like, hey, you're in the game, man. Trevor's got COVID. You're in, DJ, and all he did was go for what, like 400 something in South Bend.
Yes, and he was cooking them like. Yeah. All right, like this is what I have a hard time getting across to people because I've said DJ is let me go at it like you go at it. DJ Uiagalelei is
nailed it, dog.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pounding you right now. Like I can't tell you how hard that was to learn to say.
Yeah, hey, one take, man. I'm impressed, man.
So like we were talking like I'm trying to tell people he's more talented than Trevor. And I said, no, he's not.
No, he is.
Yes! Please, tell the people. Tell the people who this man is.
Hey, I went on Twitter, man, and I told my boy, I said, hey, if DJ was eligible for the draft this coming year, he would be the #1 pick.
Yes! I mean, and look, 6'5", moves well, got a cannon for an arm. Yeah. If he doesn't show out against Boston College, they lose that game.
Oh, for sure. You know, their defense did not show up that game.
Right, and neither did Travis. Like, Travis is out there catching passes. He has to catch passes.
He had, yeah.
Yeah, like, and he has to catch passes from somebody. And they, and the other thing about this that I love is Dabo didn't flinch. Like, he's like, nope, Trevor's sitting this one out. I don't care if he is going to be COVID-19 clear. Yeah. He's sitting this one out.
That's the thing, man. You go to a program like St. John Bosco, and Jason Negro, one of the best coaches, if not the best in high school football, but they're playing elite competition week in and week out. So that played a huge role, having DJ ready to play in a moment like that. Because really, I mean, obviously it's a little different in college, but no moment is too big for DJ, man. And that just shows you, man, playing for a big-time high school program like St. John Bosco, that's going to prepare you for big-time games on Saturday, no doubt.
So I want to stay in Clemson for a second before we move to Quinn Ewers and his rating and that just being ridiculous for Ohio State.
Oh, he saw that kid's special, man.
Oh, man. But like Big Dave Uiagalelei.
Oh, right? I love Big Dave, man. That's my guy.
Is taking like the selfie, the quarantine, the social distance selfie with Corey Foreman.
Yeah.
For I forget which game this was. It wasn't Syracuse. It's after Notre Dame, I say. It was in Death Valley.
Yeah.
Anyway, he took the selfie, and I'm like, oh, Corey got out there. And then he was supposed to get out to LSU for that 55-17 stomping and then cancel that visit. So, like, now I'm back to thinking perhaps maybe USC in the lean. Perhaps the #1 player in the country ends up at Clemson again?
Yeah.
What do you
I mean, who knows? Like, his recruitment has been kind of, like, all over the place. Because usually kids, when they decommit, man, they don't go back to the school they decommitted from, even if you got that tiger tattoo on your forearm. Mm-hmm. But he's a tough one to read, man. I'm an SC guy, man. I'm praying that he goes to SC, but I think he's going to go back to Clemson, too. That makes sense. Could you imagine that D-line, him, Brian Bresee? Oh, my God.
Miles Murphy? Yes.
Ugh,
yeah, and well, I mean, it's 2018 all over again, right? Like, that's the thing. And then Brent has basically shut down every single head coaching rumor that there is. It's like, yo, Brent, what job are you waiting on, dog? I got it. Like, I'm good. I'm straight. And that must be such a cool thing to recruit from because it's unshakable. Like, any rumor that comes up against Brent, everybody gets to slap it down if they're a Clemson fan because it's just not moving. Now, like, one of the things I find to be interesting about him and his game, and you mentioned SC, I look at SoCal, and I'm sure you do this, right? Mm-hmm. And you go, why is everybody going to Oregon, Arizona State, Texas, wherever, because like Michigan, like Ohio State, I'm going, Clay Helton has led a charmed existence. He managed to hold on to his job for 2 years straight after I thought he was going to get fired. And now he's undefeated, right? After getting run Final 2 minutes, you pull off a miracle against Arizona State. Getting run, final minute against Arizona, you pull off a miracle. And now all of a sudden they seem like they got something. What is it possible he goes on a recruiting tear here? Because it feels like they just win the kids in their area, they're going to win national championships.
Yeah, man. Back, the Pete Carroll days, that was what they did is they recruited, Southern California. They were the best. No one was leaving SoCal. They were going to SC. And with Dante Williams coming in from Oregon, man, that's been the key for me for USC recruiting now, because this is a guy who is up there with anybody in the country when it comes to recruiting. And he's a guy that can relate to the players, man. Players love that. They want a coach. They want a guy they can relate to. Kind of, the age difference isn't too crazy. And that's what Dante Williams brings to the table. He's also a great defensive backs coach on top of all of that. But I feel like with Dante Williams there back at SC, they're going to be able to compete. And I think they're going to get a couple of flips here, during the early signing day period. That's going to help their 2021 class. Obviously, Jake Garcia decommitted, man. I feel like he's obviously going to the U, but they're going to they're in the mix for Jackson Dart. They already got Miller Moss at quarterback, and they got Julian Simons, a straight beast. And if they get Korey Foreman, man, that's going to be huge. But I do think he's going back to Clemson, but we'll see.
So, in looking at this broadly, I thought that perhaps the early signing period should be nixed because you can't take any official visits or whatever, and then they extend the dead period through April, which is like, okay, so what are we doing? How do you think this is going to affect the decisions made by kids? Because, these rash of decommitments feel like the kind where people are getting told we don't have room for you in the boat, as opposed to kids just deciding I didn't get to visit. So, are we going to see a bunch of kids going to transfer? Or are we going to see more kids waiting to try to do this in February? How do you see this all working out?
I feel like we're going to get a lot of kids that signed early signing day period just to, some kids might even do it just because they're planning on to enroll early and get to that college by January, because, there's kids in states right now that they're still not sure if they're going to be able to play senior season. Even if the season was, moved to the spring, there's still going to be a chance that they don't get that opportunity. But this year's just been wild, man. Like, this year's been the year to don't expect anything because things change every single day. But, props to the kids that committed early, because it's just weird, man. Like you can't go visit, you can't do anything. So kids that were waiting to commit, a lot of those kids' places might have got taken up too. So it's kind of bizarre. But the kids I really feel for, RJ, are the kids that, were planning on playing their senior season and get a chance to get recruited late. They didn't get that opportunity in California, Washington, Nevada, Oregon, the DMV area. So it's been just bizarre all year for sure.
So I want to talk a little bit about how quiet Kamar Wheaton's recruitment has been for a five-star tailback. Like, used to hearing something, used to hearing a lot of chatter, used to kids have things to say about the place they go. This dude seems to be moving different. I would even call him the anti-Zach Evans, if you get my drift there, right? So,
yeah, I get it, man.
How do you feel about the kid coming out of Garland?
He's special, man. He's a top 30 prospect on the composite rankings for a reason. He's number 2 rated running back, I believe. He's a top 5 dude in Texas, man. You know how Texas is with turning out big time running backs, and Kamar Wheaton, he's right there. I feel that he didn't get a chance to play in the playoffs because the team came down with some COVID issues, so they had to pull out. But now he can focus 100% on his recruiting and figure out exactly what he wants to do. I believe he said he's going to announce December 23rd, right before Christmas too. So I feel like Oklahoma's the lock for this dude, man. I mean, look what Joe Mixon's doing. This is a guy, I feel like Kamar Wheaton, his game is very similar to Joe Mixon. He can do it all. He's kind of that all-purpose type of guy. He's shifty, he's fast, great vision. He's special, man. He's one of the best, not just in Texas, but in the country, no doubt.
That was the job that was put before DeMarco Murray when he was like, hey, cool, congratulations, you're a running backs coach at Oklahoma. Go get Kamar. Right, like that was it. That's the job description right now. So if he pulls that one out, especially during the early signing period, I think he will have earned his $350,000. Like, man,
hold up. This dude, this is insane. Like, so you're telling me Oklahoma's offense in this class of 2021 could get Caleb Williams, the number 1 rated quarterback. Then you're going to get a guy like Billy Bowman who could ball out at corner, wide receiver, wherever you put him on the field. And if you get Emeka Egbuka to go with Mario Williams and Cody Jackson,
wow.
That's nuts.
No, I was crunching the numbers last week, and like you had Egbuka, Leigh, and Kamar. You already at 296 in the composite, right? So like you're top 3. You're guaranteed top 5.
Your calculations, aren't you?
Hey man, like I'm trying to see how much could this go? Like where could this end up? And it's not, it's not past a Lincoln Riley to go and pull a rabbit out of a hat. I mean, in 2019, I'll never forget this. The man does not have a defensive coordinator to recruit with, and the cupboard is damn near bare for defensive recruits. And that man goes and gets Jeremiah Cradell out of Mater Dei, Marcus Stripling, who I swore I thought was going to A&M, pulls Ty DeArmond late with a DM talking about you still want to come to Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Like and then the way that he can close, and granted he was able to travel. It was a regular period where you could go make the home visits and make your pitches, kind of like Nick Saban last year, walking into Jason McClellan's house, coming out with Jason McClellan's commitment. Yeah. Like, I'm really interested to see what kind of fireworks might happen during this time, because I feel like there's somebody, at least one, maybe 3, where we're like, that person's going there, and they're going to pull a Rakeem Jarrett. It's like, Maryland? What? Okay.
Yeah, that was wild, man. And, look at Rakim, man. He made the right decision. Obviously, Maryland's had some COVID issues. They haven't been able to play all year. But, opportunities that he's got at Maryland, man, he's eating, dude. He's special.
Forgot about Farouk. I forgot about Farouk. He's going to be able to throw passes to Julio. Caleb Williams. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I'm not joking when I say I think Caleb's going to win 2 Heisman trophies. I really do. I believe that. It's
saying a lot. Plus, that 21 team, I expect to be the one. Like, the window has been closed for the last 3 years on a national championship for Oklahoma, and this being the worst of those years. Next year, especially with the seniors having the opportunity to return with this eligibility issue, like, Oklahoma's going to be so loaded. I think about it in this way. Say Rattler is having some troubles once again. You get to go to Caleb Williams and not Tanner Mordecai. What? I'm sorry.
Look at how beneficial it's been for Clemson this year. Trevor Lawrence goes down for 2 games because of COVID, and you got a guy like DJ who can just plug right in. I feel like Caleb could do that next year if Spencer got hurt or something happened where Lincoln Riley's going to feel comfortable. All right, Caleb, you're up, dude. And it's nice too. You said, man, he's already been in Norman. He's living there, so he's already getting very familiar with the area, everything. He's going to feel even more comfortable by the time his name's called, man. You guys are in good hands for sure.
So, Zach, this is my favorite question to you because you were the man with this. Who are we sleeping on? Who are we not paying attention to?
Listen, man, this is my guy. He's been my guy. He's the best quarterback in the state of Texas since Kyler Murray, North Shore's Demetrius Davis. I get it. He don't have the size and everything, but this guy wins big-time games and plays his best football against the best competition in the state of Texas. You can make the argument that Texas high school football is better than any other state. Demetrius Davis is a guy no one talks about. Even when people talk about the top quarterbacks in Texas, I don't hear Demetrius Davis's name talked about enough. This is a guy who's won back-to-back state championships in Texas's largest classification. The last guy to do that was Kyler Murray. And guess what, RJ? He's going for a three-peat this year. North Shore begins their playoff quest this weekend. Demetrius Davis, man, people need to stop sleeping on this cat. He's going to be special when he gets to Auburn, too.
Man, I just hope.
I've been holding that one in, man.
No, hey, look, every once in a while, like, he'll pop up on Twitter, and you'll pop up, be like, yo, you know I got you as 5-star. You know that, right? You know that, right? And, I mean, it's kind of like, I love that because, one, Gus's offense is going to force him to be the focal point of the offense, right? Which is to say, I'm out on Bo Nix. I'm out on Bo Nix same way I'm out on Sam Ehlinger. Their ceiling at Auburn is the quarterback every single year. And when you got Cam Newton, you can do no wrong. But when you don't have Cam Newton, you better have somebody with the goods. And after watching dude last year, right, I'm convinced. I don't need convincing. I'm good. I want to see what it looks like in Gus's offense, except I don't know, man. Like, one, he seems like he's just holding on too tight to Bo Nix, so I'm afraid that Demetrius won't get actual opportunity to play the position. And two, they're going to get a tight end. Like, I don't know if this might have gone under the radar, but like Grant Calcaterra medically unretired and he's transferred to Auburn. So now you got a nice tight end threat to go along with the legs out there. Say nothing of the wide receivers that they're going to have. So I'm excited to see what dude can do. I just hope that Gus Malzahn gives him an opportunity to cook.
That's the thing too, man. It's, sometimes you'll see a 5-star People say, oh, he shouldn't have been a 5-star. But in reality, it's not even 100% on him. It's more on the coaching staff because they're not using him to his best ability. We've seen that happen all the time in college, and then a dude transfers, and the next thing you know, he's playing well. I mean, look at JT Daniels right now. I know he got injured at SC, but, I mean, the guy showed out now at Georgia in the past 2 games when he got his opportunity. And sometimes, change is just better when things aren't working out with the current, coaching staff.
So last question I want to throw at you is Quinn Ewers comes out with the 1.000 rating.
Perfect, man. He's perfect.
Makes him the highest rated commit ever to Ohio State, which is,
wow.
Yeah, that's what I said too. I had to go check. So What's your read on Ewers in Southlake and what he's been able to do?
My read is the kid is perfect, man. He's special, dude. Like he checks all the boxes, man. He's mobile. He does everything, and he's got a mullet on top of all that. It makes it even better. But in reality, man, I'm gonna tell you this right now, RJ. That 2022 class, Ohio State is gonna have, when it's all said and done, is going to be the highest rated class of all time on any recruiting site ever. This 2022 class for Ohio State is going to be off the charts, and it's all going to start with Quinn Ewers. This was a guy, as a sophomore last year was named our Max Prep Sophomore Player of the Year. He balled out for Southlake Carroll, playing in, against the best teams in Texas. Only had 1 L. That was against a, loaded Duncanville squad. But, you put on the tape of Quinn Ewers, you're just like, oh my gosh, this dude can sling it. He's confident. He does everything, man. And all those receivers Ohio State they got, it's gonna be fun, man. But I'll tell you this though, Kamar, the dude they got in this 2021 cycle, that dude's been balling out too. So I feel like he's going to be a guy that's going to compete, and Quinn Ewers is going to have to eventually win that job from Kamar, and it's not going to be easy because Kamar can sling that thing.
Man, with Stroud and Miller, Brian Day building a monster, man. Just a monster. Zach Poff is the football editor at Max Preps. If you need the recruiting hookup, my man has you. His opinions are nailed to the wall. Like, he was way ahead on Egbuka. He was way ahead on Arch Manning. He's way ahead on Demetrius Davis. Dude, I appreciate you, man. This has been fun.
Yeah, man. Anytime you want me, man, you got my number. All right, RJ, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, man.
All right, brother. Bye.
All right, later.
That's my man, Zach Poff. Terrific follow on the Twitters, and he's on CBS HQ breaking down new recruits and with analysis that you're going to love. A couple things from me before we get out of here. But first, Peligi Larius, $20 super chat. Greetings, RJ. My name is Peligi, I think. Is it Pelagi? You can correct me. It's cool. I am a big-time Buckeye fan. I work for a small beard oil company called Artius Man. It's online. We love to send you beard products if you're interested. Yeah, man. So there's a P.O. box in the description of every video where y'all can send me whatever. People have sent me OU Club of San Diego shirts. I have got masks. I've got cookies. Like, it's been kind of cool to see what people are willing to send my way. Yeah, man. And every once in a while I get to do a mail time. So yeah, man, send it on. Like, my girl is always asking me about what beard product she wants me to get. I'm like, I don't really. I mean, I try to keep a clean edge up. Shout out to Johnny Brown who saw that the edge up stays clean. You know what I mean? Trying to get it in because, I got all this hair on my head that Laurel has to take care of, and I got this beard, so I got to keep it lined. So if it's going to keep me fresh and clean, send it on to me. Like, I'm here for it. Like, this is my GQ Mac Daddy pose. Nah, like, I'm for real. Also, man, y'all are cool. Like, I appreciate y'all for showing up for this. All right, so I have a thing that is going to come out on Fox Sports about Ohio State versus Michigan being canceled that I'm really enthusiastic about, and I'll probably drop somewhere on, like, maybe in the post in the community tab on the channel. But please go check that out at foxsports.com. I drank, like, double espresso at, like, 10 a.m. local time and sat there and cranked something out in like 3 hours. Very proud of that. Y'all know how much I love to write. I always tell people, like, I am a writer first. I'm writing a book. I've written a book. You can go buy it. It's called Let It Bang. It's right there over there at Amazon. It was published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. this next book about the Tulsa Race Massacre is coming out in, I think, 2022. And it's going to be by Counterpoint, which is an imprint of Catalyst. I'm very excited about it. Go check that out. Let me see. Ross said, you San Diego, that's what's up. Steven Smith says, can't believe the Big Ten changed the rules for Ohio State can play in the Big Ten championship. Big Ten, a joke of a conference. All right, so I want to speak to this. This is not the first time that the Big Ten has manipulated itself to give Ohio State the best chance to win a national championship and to be their crowning representative. So 1973, during the 10-year war, Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler had two of the best teams in the country. And they played each other for Big Ten supremacy, going into that game each 10-0. They played that game to a 10-10 tie, with with Michigan scoring 10 points in the fourth quarter. It was up to the Big Ten athletic directors and the conference to figure out which one of them would be the representative to the Rose Bowl. Because remember, back then, you didn't play in anything like a bracketed playoff. There's even no BCS. There's no bowl alliance. It's just what it is. We pick who goes to what game. And the game you want to play in, if you come up in the Big Ten or the Pac-12, is the Rose Bowl. That's the crowning jewel. So the conference picks Ohio State. And Bo Schembechler blew a gasket. He called it a tragedy. He called it one of the darkest days of his career. He felt like they got shafted. And there's something to that, right? Because they both finished top 10 teams. Ohio State didn't win a national championship that year. It went to Notre Dame because we vote on those things that I hate. But it also speaks to what the Big Ten was trying to do, which is always give itself the best opportunity to claim a national champ, or in this particular instance, a playoff contender, because we know that the committee loves Ohio State. We know that the committee doesn't think highly of almost anybody else in the Big Ten. We also know that they are using conference championships as one of the criteria for entry into the playoff. Now, it is totally up to them whether or not they want to pick an undefeated, say, Pac-12 champion or a 6-0 Big Ten champion. And there's also to take into account that only one of Ohio State's games was canceled due to them catching the COVID, right? So they were ready to play. But it's not also as if people expected Michigan to win this game as a 30-point dog. However, what I give to Michigan fans to say, especially if Ohio State wins the Big Ten and a national championship, is they didn't do it with a win against Michigan. They didn't play us. Does it really matter? Does it really count? Because Ohio State fans are the first ones to tell you, we can go 1-11, but if we beat the team up north, it's a good season. What happens in a season where you go undefeated, but you don't beat the team up north? Something to consider. I'm just saying, put that in your pipe, right? And ask them to smoke that out. That's where I'm going to come down on it for the Michigan fans. For Ohio State fans, it's like, y'all better let go of that 1-11. We need to beat Michigan every year, but they're not gonna, because that game means so much. It's been played since 1897, dog. And it was 22 years before, the Buckeyes won a game in it. And it was getting so bad that Francis Schmidt had to come down and say, hey, they put on their pants the same way that we do. And then you get the gold pants. Ohio State wanted to win that game so badly that they incentivized the kids to go win that game with gifts. Things you can't do now. They came up with the gold pants and we still let them give out the gold pants. That is a gift that would make you ineligible to play in modern times. Now, it's just part of what Ohio State does. It's grandfathered in. Think about that for a second. There's no other program in the entire world that gives you gold pants with your initials and the score engraved on them for beating the team in college football. Right? That's called an improper gift. And yet we let that happen. Let me see. Mike Farino says, I think this would be a much bigger issue if one of the games they missed was the Indiana game, but they beat them on the field. They had their chance. Again, it ain't for me. The conversation is not put Coastal Carolina in the 4-team playoff. The conversation for me is, I no longer want to live in a world where an undefeated FBS team does not have an opportunity to play for a national championship. And the only way to do that is to expand the playoff. Because we still got the Colley Matrix. And one of the reasons that we talk about the Colley Matrix, and Doc puts the Colley Matrix in the chat from time to time, is because the Colley Matrix is a college football poll that is recognized by the NCAA. Because Central Florida finished number one at the top of that poll in 2017, the NCAA recognizes their claim to a national championship. It's going to happen again because Coastal Carolina is ranked number one in the Colley Matrix. Ohio State fans, go take a look at that and get angry because you're at like 9. To which I say, there is no need to take a look at the Colley Matrix except for our own fun and enjoyment if you expand the playoff to include 16 teams. Because I don't want the chance of your schedule being strong or weak to be the determining factor in whether or not we think you're good. I think that's stupid. I think that Ohio State is having to prove that they're good because Michigan and Penn State didn't hold up their end of the bargain. They suck, right? And they got lucky in that Indiana is good. What happens in a year where the Big Ten is trash, but Ohio State looks good? There's no way to tell. So you're going to tell me that Ohio State played a weak schedule. So what? If you open the playoff to 16 teams, you can have a weak schedule. You can have a strong schedule because we'll look at your schedule and say, you know what? They're 8-4, but they're 8-4 against like 9 top 10 teams. Put them in the playoff. And that's how that goes. And then you seed it and you get home and homes and you grow the pie and it becomes a national sport. I don't understand why I'm the only person making sense on this. Like, what do I have to do to get through to you? It's not about deserving. It's about the scoreboard. The scoreboard is your selector. My God, I thought that's why we played the games. Otherwise, there's no other reason to put a 2-loss Georgia in the top 10. You lost. All right? And you know what? I wouldn't even argue about 2-loss Georgia being in the top 10 if there was a 16-team playoff. Because I know they would have a chance to prove they're good or they're bad. Just like high school football, just like FCS football, and just like pro football. But yet, here we are talking this crap through. Oh, my goodness. All right. Did I want to touch on anything else before we get up out of here? I made a video on Breece Hall, Tyler Smith. Go check it out. This dude said gold pants aren't called tradition. They don't have commercial value. Then why are they going for $3,000 on eBay? Sit down. Be quiet. Let me see. What else you got in here? You can't play 6 games to get in the playoff. It's a COVID year. What is you, ignorant? It's a COVID year. What are you talking about? 3 of the deadliest days in U.S. history have been in the month of December. That includes Anti-Tom. That includes 9/11. What are you talking about? My God, get out of here. You can say that 2017 UCF would have been boat raced, but they didn't get boat raced. What do I have to say to get through to you? They did not lose. They didn't lose. Put it in a playoff where they might lose. My God. Ross, I want 24. I'll settle for 16. I want 24 because the FCS has 24. And we got a 25-team poll. If you have 10 automatic qualifiers for winning conference championships, you also have, guess what? 14 other teams to choose, which means that BYU can stay independent, Notre Dame can divorce the ACC, everybody gets what they want. My goodness. Y'all, come on, man. Will, I've made my own rankings before. It seems pointless because I rank undefeated teams ahead of teams that have losses in the current format. For me, it's about did you lose? If you lost, stop crying about you lost. All right. That's going to do it for me. If y'all want to argue some more about the playoff, hit the comments section or whatever, or the Twitters. I will be unmoved on this subject. Love y'all. Deuces. That's going to do it for me.